Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker. You can also find this and all other episodes of Taylor's Detroit Sports on iHeartRadio. If you have any opinions on everything that's going on in the Detroit sports world, call in or send a text message live on the show at 231-429-3668. That's 231-429-3668. Also, you can add me on Facebook as Taylor Phillips, online at facebook.com/Phil1DT. Like my Facebook page, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports page. Join my Facebook group, Taylor Phillips' Detroit Sports Group, and follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips.
And this is episode 104 of Taylor's Detroit Sports on Spreaker and on iHeartRadio. Second here before I get started here. I gotta finish sharing here. Okay. I know that pretty much everybody has fallen asleep, but I'll still record live anyway, because I just love doing it. Anyway, down to business right now, recap the Red Wings Flyers game first. I'm going to get off to a great start. Episode 104 by Belarus of DetroitRedWings.com. What groin injury? Showing no ill effects from a sore groin that held him out of 4 straight and 6 of the past 8 games, Pavel Datsyuk returned to his old tricks Wednesday night. In my opinion, he had a bit of a different trick on one of his 2 goals. Powering a newly formed line made up exclusively of natural centermen, the Magic Man, Pavel Datsyuk, scored twice in the Red Wings' 5-2 victory over Philadelphia before a grateful Thanksgiving Eve crowd at Joe Louis Arena. Along with Stephen Weiss, who picked up a goal and an assist, and Darren Helm with 2 assists, Datsyuk's line picked up 6 points as a unit. Period. That's the way I describe that. Weiss said, quote, "He's incredible, stealing pucks, a couple big goals for us at key times when we weren't at our best. But when you have guys like that who can turn games pretty quickly, he's fun to play with. I I said earlier this morning that I wanted to keep it really simple. It's only my second game. Elmer and I playing the wing. We just wanted to get pucks in and try to play in their end. And really, we didn't have much of that. It was kind of back and forth. Not much going on all game. But we just ended up getting a couple bounces around the net. And it ends up being the difference. That's huge. Unquote. Weiss gave Detroit a 1-0 lead at 10-12 of the opening period. It was his third goal this week, all of them from the dirty area in front of the crease. As soon as the puck dropped on a restart to the left of Flyers' net, Weiss moved into position, beating defenseman Braden Coburn to the spot where he tipped Helm's rising shot under Steve Mason's left pad. Steve Mason used to be a goaltender for the Columbus Blue Jackets, by the way, a few years back. He used to be amazing. He used to beat the Wings when he was with Columbus. Weiss also added on that. Quote, there's a set play off. That's a set play off a face-off. That inside guy's got to get to the net, and when you do that and shoot the puck, sometimes it goes off you and goes in. We'll take those all day, unquote. He had 3 goals on 4 shots this season. Jakob Kindl assisted on the Wings' first goal as well, picking up his first point since his power play goal against New Jersey in the same building, Joe Louis Arena, on November 7th. He also assisted on Datsuk's power play goal. In his return from a groin injury that held him out for all but one of the Red Wings' first 20 games, Weiss scored 2 goals Monday in the Wings' 4-3 win against Ottawa. His second goal that evening was career point number 400, as you may recall. His goal Wednesday was number 150 in his 13th season career. Imagine 2 games in a row with a Red Wing player returning from the same injury, a groin injury, and scoring 2 goals in his return. First Weiss on Monday night, and then the next game, both in the same building. Datsuk also scoring 2 goals. It's a very good and positive omen. Wow. Nothing negative to say about that. Red Wing fans have to love that, if you think about that. If there was yet another Red Wing player that was on the injured reserve, Brendan Smith, for example, he was activated but still needs time to recover. If he returns Friday in New Jersey, he might score 2 goals as well. I'm not jinxing it, I'm just making this up. This is a bonus. This is just a bonus. That's a given. Weiss added, by the way, quote, wow, I didn't know either of those. I heard about the one last night, but they're nice accomplishments to have in your career, especially over the last year and a half. It's been a rough ride. So to see some positive things happen like that, like the thing I mentioned, it's a nice change, unquote. The return of a healthy Weiss has been like a new acquisition for the Red Wings, who've waited to see the productivity that they expected when they signed the veteran to a 5-year contract 2 summers ago. So, if there are any Red Wing fans out there that still think Stephen Weiss is a bust, they haven't been watching or following what he has done lately since his return. First, he scored 2 goals a few days back in the last 2 games with the Griffins in his conditioning stint. And then this week he returned, scored 2 goals against the Senators on Monday night at the Joe. And then earlier tonight, a few hours ago, he scored a goal and picked up an assist against the Legion of Doom, the Philadelphia Flyers. It's just amazing, positively amazing. Jimmy Howard, their goaltender, in a winning effort. Had something to say. He said, quote, "I think he can be a great addition for us," and he is. And he has been thus far. Once he gets his confidence and he gets his game shape, you've got to remember he hasn't played a lot of games for us. That's true. Right now it's baby steps for him, but he's doing a great job for us. I wouldn't necessarily call those baby steps, Jimmy. He's off to a hot start in his return. Don't forget. Hopefully he can keep going and he can slide over to that center spot, unquote. The 31-year-old Weiss now has 5 goals and 7 points in 29 games with the Red Wings. Unlike last season, the Wings have had a run of good luck in the health department lately. Helm and Henrik Zetterberg have played in every game, and now with the return of Datsuk and Weiss to the lineup, the Wings are in a good spot. Head coach Mike Babcock said, quote, "Like I keep trying to tell them every day, I think we have a chance to become a good team. We're not there yet by any means, but we have a chance to keep getting better. You just got to keep getting better. I know they don't hand anything out 22 games into it," unquote. The Flyers tied the score on their first shot of the second period when Claude Giroux's shot glanced off Kyle Quincy's skate and beat Howard high above his left catching glove at 2:31. Howard made 22 saves while improving to 10-4-4 on the season. The Red Wings regained their one-goal lead when Tomas Jurko's shot found its way through traffic between Michael Delzano's legs and over Steve Mason's left shoulder at 10:18 of the second. Datsuk then scored on the power play 89 seconds later. It was his first goal since November 2nd at Buffalo. Datsuk said, "When you come back after missing as many games, it's more important that your partners help, and they did a great job that they helped me a lot and stuck with me. It's awesome. I appreciate it for this one." Unquote. In less than an 8.5-minute span, Detroit scored 3 second-period goals. Datsuk's first chased the Flyers starting goalie at 11:47. He then finished the second period scoring on backup goalie Ray Emery at 18:39. Zetterberg capped Detroit's scoring on an empty netter for his first goal in 10 games. The win ended the Red Wings' 3-game losing streak to the Flyers, who have now lost 6 straight games on the road this season. my opinions on this, it was like deja vu, like last Monday. The Wings struck first. Their opponent tied the score at 1 in either the first period or second period. Then the Wings scored 3 straight and led 4-1 identically after 2 periods for 2 straight games. But in the third period, their opponent struck back with a goal to make it 4-2. But the ending was much more different Wednesday than it was Monday. See, on Monday, the Senators made it 4-3 with an empty net for a 6-man. With 34.3 seconds left, making it 4-3. And the Wings had to barely hang on, with Howard making the last-second glove save at the buzzer. To win 4-3. But Wednesday night, the Flyers had their goaltender. But they weren't exactly coming in as hard as the Senators were in the last 2 to 3 minutes of the game. And they let Henrik Zetterberg score an empty net goal to make it 5-2 for the Red Wings. And they won by that score. So the last 2 games at the Joe were almost completely identical, except the very ending, the final 2 or 3 minutes of each contest. If you break things down, the Wings sort of improved in that department in that third period. Now, their next step when leading 4-1 after 2 periods is to not allow a single goal and to actually run away with it against any opponent they take on at Joe Louis Arena, for example. Their next home game is not until Sunday afternoon at 2 on Fox Sports Detroit against the Vancouver Canucks. But their next game is instead on the road in New Jersey against the Devils Friday, on Black Friday at 7. That's going to be on Fox Sports Detroit as well. Let me check and see if I'm right. I have the schedule bookmarked on my Mozilla Firefox browser. I do. Yep, both games are on the main Fox Sports Detroit feed. And of course, for those who can listen, who have to listen to the Red Wings on the radio while on the road, and drive carefully, people, on icy roads. You can hear Ken Cow and Paul Woods on Detroit's flagship station, 97.1 The Ticket in Southfield in the greater Detroit area. And all the Detroit Red Wings radio network affiliates. course, Ken Daniels and Mickey Redmond call most of the games on Fox Sports Detroit and Fox Sports Detroit Plus. The Red Wings remain in third place, however, 3 points behind the Lightning for second place and 4 points behind the Canadiens, who have 33. For the Flyers, they are stuck at 19 points. In sixth place in the Metropolitan Division. 13 points away from the division-leading Pittsburgh Penguins. The Devils have 21 points right now. Fifth place in the Metro Division. Looking a bit further ahead to the Vancouver Canucks, Sunday at 2. Vancouver Canucks are in second place. 31 points, 2 behind the Anaheim Ducks in the Pacific Division. Fourth place in the entire Western Conference. Nashville Predators and St. Louis Blues are tied for first place in the Central Division with 30 points. In between the Ducks and Canucks in the entire Western Conference. The entire race for the best record in the Western Conference. That's enough hockey talk. Now to the bad news. Pistons lose 104-98 at the house to the Los Angeles Clippers. Dropped to 3-12 on the season. Under Stan Van Gundy, their head coach.
I want you here. What's your problem there, pal? Can't a guy get a bit of sleep? Don't bug me.
That's right. That's what no real Piston fan wants to hear. That's what I don't want to hear. That's what we don't want to see. None of it. They should have been at least 12-4, or 11-4. Under Van Gundy, not only the talent, but the incredible coaching abilities, the great coaching abilities that Stan Van Gundy still has, in my opinion. There just needs to be more chemistry to this Pistons team. They have to have all the pieces put together. The Pistons took a 1-point lead in the fourth quarter, written by Keith Langlois of Pistons.com, and they wound up with a healthy 25-point output in the period, but Charlotte scored just 2 points in the first 5 minutes. By the time Jonas Jerebko's 20-footer broke the dam, the Hoover Dam, the Clippers had an 8-point lead. It grew to 11 with under 5 minutes to play when the Pistons charged again, getting it within 2 points with 2:39 to play. Chris Paul then fed Blake Griffin for a layup and hit a dagger triple sandwiched around a Pistons missed 3. Paul and Jamal Crawford had brilliant. Chris Paul and Jamal Crawford had brilliant second halves, combining for 31 of their 48 points combined. Paul scored 14 in the third quarter and made all 6 of his shots after playing the first half on autopilot, efficiently but not spectacularly, and Crawford scored 14 in the fourth. Pistons rookie Spencer Dinwiddie, himself a big part of the game's narrative, said of Paul and Crawford. Well, they're some of the best in the league. Jamal has made his reputation for being one of, if not the best 6-man in the league. And CP3, Chris Paul, has made his name for being one, if not one of the best point guard in the league. You know that going into the matchup, and you expect great things when you play with them. Van Gundy opened the game with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope guarding Paul and kept him there whenever he could, while starting point guard DJ Augustine, Brandon Jennings missed his second straight with a sprained left thumb, covered J.J. Redick, did Augustine. When Doc Rivers, Clippers head coach, countered by pairing Crawford and Paul, Van Gundy had to switch Caldwell-Pope over to the rangy Crawford. Van Gundy said, "We couldn't stop them, quote unquote, and those 2 guys went off on us in the fourth and we couldn't get shots." Dinwiddie, who played his first regular season minutes at point guard at Milwaukee on Tuesday, looked remarkably more poised and NBA ready in his second game at the position. He logged 17 minutes and contributed 10 points on 4 of 7 shooting, making half his 4 3-point tries and 4 assists without a turnover. That's amazing for a rookie. Van Gundy even played Dinwiddie for the final 10 minutes of the game. He was playing so well, and it's not like he didn't have another good option. Augustine gave the Pistons 19 points and 6 assists on 35 minutes and shot 7 of 14. They played in tandem for the final 3 minutes. Andre Drummond and DeAndre Jordan are the NBA's most consistently dominant rebounders. Jordan and Drummond entered the game 1-2 in the NBA in games with 10-plus rebounds since the start of the 2013-2014 season. That was last year. And Drummond more than held his own against a player he beat out for a berth on the U.S. national team that won gold in the summer's FIBA World Cup. Drummond finished with 17 points, 13 rebounds, a double-double, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. So, I already gave my opinion about this game and how the Pistons have started thus far in this 2014-2015 campaign. It's just not good at all. Because the Pistons are just not winning games. They're not trying to lose. They're just messing up and just not getting the job done. Van Gundy said it in his concluding comments, I have not been at this point before, so yeah, it's hard. But look, I was encouraged, not discouraged. Encouraged. Our guys played hard and well tonight, I thought, against a very good team. We just had a lot of those, competitive, close enough, didn't get it done. So it starts to get frustrating from a coaching standpoint. I want to win badly for selfish reasons, but I want them to win too. Feel like you should be able to do a little bit more to help them, and that's sort of where I'm at right now. That's how I'm feeling. Not down on myself. I'm not blaming myself. My responsibility as much as theirs. But it's not a matter of blame. I just feel like I'd like to be able to help them a little bit more. Unquote. Well, Stan, you're going to have to make them win by enforcing further discipline on them as a team. That's about the only choice you have if you want to start winning games instead of losing. Issues need to be addressed immediately. Lots of them. You can't just stand around and just give games away. Because I don't want to hear Pistons fans say, "Oh, the Pistons should no longer be in the NBA."
You here? What's your problem there, pal? Can't a guy get a bit of sleep? Don't bug me!
Oh, I hate the NBA. The Pistons suck. The NBA sucks too.
I want you here! What's your problem there, pal? Can't a guy get a bit of sleep? Don't bug me!
Come on, fans. I've had enough. Lighten up, will ya? Moving on to the Lions. Some issues need to be addressed as well, especially on offense. They still lack comfort zone and competency. According to Kyle Meinke on MLive.com, you can follow him on Twitter at KMeinke. From Allen Park, Theo Riddick spiked the ball after hauling in a game-winning touchdown against the Miami Dolphins. He hugged Jeremy Ross and Rob Sims. Travis Swanson rushed to join the celebration. Then Joseph Fourier and Calvin Johnson. And none of them have stepped foot in an end zone since. The Lions have gone 22 straight drives without scoring an offensive touchdown. That spans 2 full games, making this their longest touchdown drought since 1993. What is wrong with the Lions' offense? It's a question that has been posed many ways on many days over the past few weeks, with few answers ever given. Coach Jim Caldwell finally offered one before Tuesday's practice. Caldwell said, quote, "We have no comfort zone. We have no area in which we are comfortable with at this point in time in our offense." Unquote. The Lions have an identity on defense. They aren't anywhere close to finding one on offense. That's what happens when you don't do anything well. What do you draw up when you need to convert a 3rd and long or a 3rd and short? If it's 3rd and goal, what's your go-to move for the score? These are questions without answers for an offense that has few bankable options at this point. They are an offense without an identity. Quarterback Matthew Stafford said, quote, I think there's still a little bit of a period. I think there's still a little bit of a period of trying to figure out what we're really good at. When you look at the offenses that are really successful, they have some things that they can go to that they know they're good at, that they know they can do against pretty much anybody in any look, unquote. The Lions definitely can't count on the run where they rank 30th this year. No back has cracked 100 yards rushing. I would also blame the offensive line for not giving the running game room. The running backs room, and tailbacks as well. They've had moments passing the ball with Golden Tate and Calvin Johnson, each delivering big gains, but the protection issues up front make it unreliable. Stafford has failed to hit open receivers in recent weeks and didn't see others. And when he does hit his targets, they've sometimes struggled to hang on to it. Jeremy Ross, Joseph Fourier, and Corey Fuller all dropped what would be touchdowns against New England. See, the receivers just had a rough game in New England. I think they've done a great job despite that. So, overall this season, it's just a very rough game for the receiving department. But Stafford's accuracy has dropped to 58.8%, which is only 0.3 of a percentage point from matching a career low. The Lions scored 35 points in their opener, delivering on an offseason of promises that coordinator Joe Lombardi's scheme would be electric, but that night has proven to be a mirage. Detroit is averaging a meager 11.7 points per game the past 3 weeks, which is better than only the offensively challenged Jets. It has slipped to 17.9 points for the season, which is better than only the Titans, Jets, Raiders, and Jaguars, none of whom has won more than 2 games. Share this. Speaking of Calvin Johnson, the Lions reject the idea that he is slowing down. According to Justin Rogers of NLive.com, you can follow him on Twitter at Justin_Rogers. The 4-time All-Pro Calvin Johnson is on pace for his worst statistical season since his rookie campaign. The numbers can largely be attributed to a high ankle sprain, which cost the superstar receiver 3 games and significantly limited him in 2 others. But Johnson is healthy now, or at least healthy enough to play, so when he goes back-to-back games with fewer than 60 receiving yards, there are rumblings that he is starting to slow down, that the injuries are starting to catch up to him. The injuries are starting to catch up to him. That's a notion Coach Jim Caldwell quickly rejects. He said, quote, "We haven't taken him out and timed him in the 40-yard dash or anything of that nature. He can still get behind people. He can still make the kind of catches he's accustomed to making, and he can still run away from folks. That's probably what counts." Unquote. Johnson certainly hasn't gotten behind people or run away from folks the past 2 weeks. He's been blanketed by two of the league's better secondaries, primarily covered by Arizona's Patrick Peterson and New England's Brandon Browner in the matchups. Both defensive backs received help from linebackers and safeties a number of times in each contest. And although Johnson will tell you he's feeling better, the ankle still bothers him. The biggest thing he's struggled with is regaining his ability to change direction, a crucial skill for running routes. This is probably just a bump in the road. After all, Johnson is just 2 weeks removed from a 7-catch, 113-yard performance against the Miami Dolphins and Pro Bowl cornerback Brent Grimes, a day that included a 49-yard touchdown grab. And who could forget the damage Johnson did in Detroit's 35-14 season-opening win against the New York Giants? With 7 receptions, 164 yards, and 2 touchdowns, it ranks as one of the 10 best games of his career. Plus, it's not like these performances are entirely out of character. Johnson has been held under 60 yards, receiving 44 times, or 39% of the games he's played. The problem for Johnson might be he raised the bar too high with his record-breaking single-season performance in 2012, given that he had 5 of his most productive days that year, including 3 200-yard outings. Thursday's opponent, the Chicago Bears, have one of the league's worst passing defenses. The team's best cornerback, Charles Tillman, is out for the season. Tim Jennings, the other starter, has struggled. So have the safeties. The bright spot in Chicago's secondary has been rookie Kyle Fuller, but he's banged up with a knee injury that might keep him sidelined for the contest. So he's not going to play. So Kyle Fuller will not play this Thanksgiving Thursday. With the big game, Johnson can put talk of a declining skill set to rest. Speaking of the matchup, Lions left tackle Riley Reif is questionable for that game as well. I will share a video between Justin Rogers and Kyle Meinke on my Detroit Sports page. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to have to sign off. That's it for Taylor's Detroit Sports episode 104. I hope you all enjoyed listening. And if you did, thanks for listening and downloading this podcast. Happy Thanksgiving, TTFN, ta-ta for now. I will talk to you sometime soon after the Lions-Bears matchup. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit